What? No. For those of you that thought I was gonna start this video by saying, "What's up, guys?" You're wrong. Shut your mouth. Just kidding. But on a serious note, I'm Sam Casada. I'm 25 years old. I'm from Dallas, Texas. Well, technically I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, but I live in Waxahachie, Texas. But I'll be playing a lot of my sessions in Dallas, Texas, so you guys get the point. I'm super excited to be making these vlogs for two main reasons. Number one, I just want to document my poker journey. And number two, I want to get better at playing poker. And I think through taking notes, through reviewing my hands, and hopefully through y'all's comments and y'all's analysis on how I'm playing hands, I'll be able to accomplish that. Enough about me. I know y'all clicked on this to watch some poker, so without further ado, let's get to the first episode ever. All right, here we go. We hop into this 1-2 game here at Poker House Dallas for the max, which is $500. Here we go with our first ever voiceover. This is take 15 because it's pretty freaking awkward sitting in a room hearing yourself talk, but I think we got the hang of it. So here we go. In the first hand, we have ace jack offsuit in the small blind, and action starts with the raise from under the gun to $20. He gets two callers from the middle position and the button player. And when action gets to me, I think we have to 3-bet this one here. We're out up position with the hand that plays a lot better heads up and not multi-way. So I make it $80 and get two callers from under the gun and the button. So we're going three ways to a flop, which comes 8, king, 8, 2 spades, and 1 heart. Not the best board for our hand, but it does favor our range with a king out there. However, I think all of the 8s are going to be in my opponent's ranges. So with that in mind, I decided to check. I think I could bet here if I had a spade because we would at least have a backdoor flush draw. But again, we have no spade in our hand, so I like a check. And whenever I check, the under the gun player instantly bets $150. He doesn't even check his cards. So typically in these lower stake games, people check their cards to make sure that they have the right suit. But he didn't even check his cards. He just immediately bet, which means he knows exactly what he has. And so far, this guy hasn't gone out of line. I've seen him play a few hands, and they have gone to showdown, and he appeared to play pretty straightforward. So I don't think he's bluffing here. I think he could have a flush draw, but because we only have ace high, I don't think that we can call down with just that. So I decided to fold, and we're going to lose the first hand ever of this poker vlog. What a horrible mistake this was. Yeah, we're going broke. Hand numero dos of the vlog. We look down at Jack 10 off on the button. Now, something to make note of is that the $5 strata was on pretty much the entire session. So essentially, we're playing 1, 2, 5 the entire session. There's 2 limps to me, and I make it $20. And we get 3 callers from the small blind, under the gun, and middle position. 4 ways to a flop, which comes king, queen, 3, rainbow. A pretty good flop for our hand and also for our range. So when action checks to me, I bet $45. I like this bet because if my opponents do have a 1 pair holding, we can start to apply some serious pressure on future streets. And also, if we do hit our draw, then there's just more money for us to win. So I like this bet, and ultimately everyone folds. So we're going to scoop this $125 pot, and this is our first ever win on the vlog. We're rich. In this next hand, we look down at ace jack suited in the hearts variety. We're in the cutoff, and there's 1 limp to us, and we make it $20. We get 3 callers, 1 from the big blind, hijack, and a button player. So we're going to go 4 ways to a flop, which comes 7, 7, 10, 1 club, and 2 hearts. Not bad for our hand. We do have the nut flush draw. And when action checks to me, I decided to bet out for $40. In hindsight, I think I prefer a check here. Reason being is that this board smashes my opponent's ranges. You know, they're going to have hands like 8-7, 9-7, 6-7, and occasionally 7-10 suited. And by betting, it gives them the opportunity to raise us and put our hand in a tough spot. So I prefer a check, but that's not what we did in the moment. And when the button folds, the big blind decides to shove all in for $75. Everyone else folds, and action's back on me. Of course, we flick in the call. It's only $35 more for us to call. So we're going to go to a run out heads up. The turn is a 6 of diamonds, and the river is a 2 of spades. So we break off, and he shows 10-6 offsuit. So obviously pre-flop, he had to call there, absolute primo. And yeah, he's going to take down this $230 pot. All right, this next hand is juicy. We have ace 10 of diamonds in under the gun +2, and there has been a dealer change, which means double board bomb pot time. Every time that there's a dealer change in Texas, we do a $5 bomb pot. So we're going to go to 2 flops. The first flop comes out 5, 10, 3, 1 spade and 2 hearts. So we smash top pair on that board. And the bottom flop comes 9, ace, ace with 2 spades and 1 heart. So we smash trips on the bottom board. Action checks to me, and I lead out for $20, which is half pot. And we get 4 callers, so we really narrow down the field. So we're going to go 5 ways to 2 separate turns. The top board comes the 2 of spades, and the bottom board comes the 5 of hearts. So now there are 2 flush draws on both boards, and action checks to me. I decide to size up here to $100, and this time we only get 2 callers from the low jack and under the gun player. At this point, I'm putting both of my opponents on flush draws and potentially a straight draw on the top board. I think if they had stronger hands or made hands, I would have probably heard from them by now. But we're just playing for 2 clean rivers, and that's what we get. The top board comes the 10 of clubs, so we smash 2 pair on the top board. And the bottom board comes the 8 of clubs. So all the draws miss. We're sitting with 2 pair on the top board and trips on the bottom. Under the gun checks, and we announce all in for around $248. The low jack player seems to be pretty frustrated with this run out, but eventually he tosses in a call, and under the gun folds, and we show our hand. The low jack player shows 2-3 offsuit for a turn 2 pair on the top board and a turn gut shot on the bottom board. Maybe he thought we were trying to steal the pot with the missed flush draw, or potentially just thought we had trips on the bottom and 1 pair on the top. I don't know, but we're going to take down this $936 pot. Let's go. All right, in this next hand, we are in the big blind, and we look down at pocket aces. There's 3 limps to us, and we make it $20. It folds over to the middle position player, who goes all in for $83. We love to see that. Action folds back to us, and we snap fold. Yes, you heard that correctly. We accidentally folded pocket aces. Kidding. We snap call, so we're going to go heads up to a run out. The opponent shows 5-4 offsuit, and the flop comes king 10-5, 2 hearts and 1 diamond. So all we need to fade is a 5 or a 4, and the turn comes a 6, and the river, of course, is a king. So we hold. Kind of wish we had more behind, but still happy to win with aces, and we're going to take down this $171 pot. At this point in the session, our stack has exceeded the 1K mark, so things are moving along nicely. This next hand is a juicy one. We have Jack 8 of diamonds in the hijack, and action starts with a raise from the low jack player. Now there's something to make note of here. This guy just sat down, started getting a massage, and has immediately been getting waxed by everybody at the table. So he's pretty tilted. With that in mind, we call, and so does the button player. So we're going to go 3 ways to a flop, which comes ace, king, 9, 2 diamonds, and 1 club. Pretty good flop, all things considered. And when the original raiser checks, I take the betting lead and decide to lead out for $30, which is a little over half pot. Now the button player decides to call, and when action gets back to the original raiser, he decides to go for a check raise for $110. When he does this, I'm putting him on hands like ace, king, pocket kings, pocket aces, and even ace queen with the queen of diamonds. Typically when people are tilted in these lower stake games, they forget how to fold, so we're definitely getting some implied odds here. He has around $250 after his $110 bet, so essentially we have to put in $80 to win a potential $800 pot if we get it all in on the turn or river. So I think I'm getting the right odds here to call, and that's what we do. We call, and the button tank folds. So we go heads up to a turn, which comes a juicy 7 of diamonds. We hit our flush. Now our opponent decides to start off with a check, so I think he's pretty scared that I may have a flush. I want to get all the chips in by the river, so I decide on a bet of $175. I actually don't like my sizing here. I prefer a small bet to entice him to shove all in, or I think I could just shove all in and that he's probably going to call with all of his holdings that still have some equity against my flush. Ultimately, it doesn't matter because he decides to shove all in for $250 effective, and we snap call. He immediately says nice hand, which typically means we got him in pretty bad shape, and the river comes a 3 of diamonds. Hate to see that, but I flip over my jack high flush, and he mucks. So we're going to take down this $828 pot. I did catch a glimpse of one of his cards, and it was a king, so I think he either had ace king or pocket kings. Not too sure. But let me know what y'all think about this hand, and let me know what y'all think of my sizing on the turn. Should we have gone smaller? Should we have shoved all in? Let me know what you think. This next hand is the hand of the session, and of course, there's a dealer change to another double board bomb pot coming y'all's way, and we got King 9 of diamonds in the small blind. Now the first flop comes out 4, 5, 9 with 2 diamonds, so we flop top pair and a flush draw on that board, and the bottom board comes out 7, 8 king with 2 clubs and 1 spade. Now the small blind player who we just stacked in the previous hand immediately leads out for $65, which is more than the pot. I think it's pretty obvious that he's pretty tilted here, but this bet is indicative of a very strong hand, obviously. Now I start to run through all the hands that he can possibly have that have me beat on both boards, and unless he somehow has pocket kings, we're good on at least one of the boards. Because if he has a set on the bottom board with pocket 7s or 8s, or even 2 pair, I have him beat on the top board. And if he has 2 pair or set on the top board, then we have him beat on the bottom board. With all that in mind, I think we have to raise here, and that's what we do. We make it $200, and the next player to act immediately goes all in for $160 effective. It folds back to the small blind player who decides to call my $200 raise, leaving himself with around $250 behind. $600 pot already, and we're going to go 3 ways to 2 turns. The top board comes the 8 of diamonds, so we smash our flush on that board, and the bottom board comes the 2 of diamonds. The small blind player decides to check, and I think there's only one move here. I think we have to go all in, so that's what we do for his remaining $250, and he snap calls. We are off to 2 rivers. The top board comes the 6 of hearts. We love to see that, and the bottom board comes the 4 of spades. So I think we're good on the top board for sure. Now we show our hand immediately, and the under the gun player shows ace 3 of clubs for a missed straight draw on the top board and a missed nut flush draw on the bottom board. Now the small blind surprisingly mucks his hands, so we don't get to see what he has, but I think it's pretty probable he just had a set on the top board. I can't think of too many other hands that he'd be willing to get his entire stack in with, but at the end of the day, we're gonna scoop this $1,100 pot. All right, last hand of the session here. We are in middle position with ace king offsuit, and action starts on under the gun +2, which is the same guy we've beaten in all of these big pots. And yes, he's still getting a massage, and he's still been getting waxed. Kind of feel bad for the guy. Almost feel like we should be paying for his massage because he's paying for our stack to grow. So kind of seems like the least we can do. But I'm directly to his left and decide to 3-bet him to $65. I'm just trying to go heads up with the tilted player, and when it folds back to him, he makes the call. So heads up to a flop, which comes 8 deuce ace all clubs. When he checks, I decide to throw a bet of $75. I think I should be going a bit bigger here for around $90 to $100. He's tilted, and if he happens to have an ace or a flush draw, I think he's going to call a large bet. So again, in retrospect, I would have liked a larger bet, but we decided on 75, and he calls. The turn comes a disgusting jack of clubs. So when he checks, I decide to check this one back, expecting him to have a flush a lot of times here. The river comes the 10 of spades, and he checks again. I'm just happy to take my hand to showdown, so I check it back and turn over my hand, and he mucks. So we're going to take down a $283 pot to end the night. When it was all said and done, we were into the game for $500 and out for $2,147. That's a nice profit of $1,647. That's a pretty awesome result for the first vlog ever to win the most I've ever won in my entire life while filming and just like taking notes. I'm super happy with the end result, obviously, and I hope you guys enjoyed the vlog. If you did, you already know what I'm about to say. Like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps out the channel, yada, 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 all that good stuff. No, but seriously, please do all of that. And thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.